Right, good evening and thanks for getting on to Vogan's European Outlook. A little bit of solar cycle speak in today's video, very brief at that, may I add. But David Birch, our good friend down in the Birmingham area, tweeted this very recently, showing that our sun is producing some great CMEs of late. Another M6 left the disk at around 1625 today, and you can see here some terrific imagery here showing that coronal mass ejection leaving the surface of the sun this afternoon here. Another image capturing that tremendous burst of solar energy. Amazing stuff. Something I have to admit is something that I'm not overly clued up on. It is a little bit over my head. I will happily admit that. But it certainly is interesting when we look at the big picture when it comes to the solar cycle. We are now well into cycle 25, kind of very similar on par with 2011's ascent out of the minimum that of course occurred in 2008. The most recent minimum occurred in 2019, and it looks as if we are pretty on par with that with regards to the sunspot days. And of course, the big question is, despite the downward trend since around 1990 of the sun and its release of energy, we continue to see the oceans and the atmosphere warming. And I did watch a video recently there discussing about why the Earth continues to warm despite the fact that the sun and its more recent cycles have been much weaker than the kind of relatively recent past. And it seems to be something regarding the type of solar flares that are being released during these solar maximums that are having an influence on our climate. Very, very, very complex stuff, but very interesting stuff nonetheless. And I'm going to try my very best, at least, to have a look at the situation regarding the solar cycle and indeed what is potentially ahead. It looks as if the solar cycle is expected to peak probably sometime around 2025, and that this period between the minimum and the maximum can be quite interesting in terms of weather and the influence the sun can have during this period in the cycle when it comes to the winter season and indeed the summer season as well. We're in a 3-year La Nina. Continue to see warming taking place here, but it's interesting actually when you look at the Arctic sea ice, for example, and it's near enough a 15-year high. It is way above the last decade or so. Yeah, well below the 1980s and even the 1990s, but it's interesting that nonetheless, while we're still seeing a tremendous amount of heat over the, particularly so over the continents of the mid-latitude region of the northern hemisphere, the Arctic sea ice is actually doing pretty darn good. So, like I say, with the amount of media attention regarding climate, drought, heat, it's not all necessarily doom and gloom when it comes to the most recent warming. And this is something that I'm going to continue to focus on, over the next weeks and months in the run-up to the winter season, of course. Do please check out Mr. Gavin Partridge on Gav's Weather Vids. Some very interesting recent videos regarding solar cycle and also regarding his, he's now starting to talk more and more about the upcoming winter season, and he's starting to produce winter chat and will be starting winter forecasts. So please do check out Gavin on YouTube and watch his stuff, because he produces some very interesting stuff indeed. So anyway, a little bit of chat, like I say, about the solar cycle, but let's have a talk about what's going on at the moment regarding the weather pattern. NAO is going into negative phase, as you can see here, and the Arctic Oscillation 2 is going to go into negative territory as well. What does that necessarily mean? It means it looks as if we're going to see high pressure that over the next 7 days or so is going to be very strong to the north of the British Isles. Now we've got that at the moment. What is happening is we've got northeasterly winds coming in off relatively cool North Sea waters, albeit the sea surface temperatures of the North Sea generally peak around now, and then we will gradually start to see a decrease in the temperature of the sea over the next several weeks and even the next couple of months. But we've got a trough actually to the southwest of the British Isles, so showers and possible thunderstorms is going to be getting thrown northwards, but it's going to be coming up against a great deal of resistance from that area of high pressure to the north here. Let's have a quick look at Europe. You can see in a more close-up version what we've got going at the moment here. So we've got the big strong ridge of high pressure at the moment really surrounding this area of low pressure, so it hasn't got a great deal of space to move around, and what will happen is it's basically going to be surrounded by a far drier than normal conditions. North of Scotland, as you can see here, parts of the west of Ireland, we're going to focus the showers, thunderstorms, Alpine region, France, northern Spain, and indeed southern and eastern England, as you can see here. Looking at the following 7 days, so this takes out to the 8th to 14th. Here's your negative NAO trough, Scandinavia, extending into the southern half of the British Isles, a ridge of high pressure west and particularly northwest of the UK. So that is what's taking place here with the NAO going into negative territory. If only, like I said in yesterday's video, if only it was a couple of months down the road, that's for sure. Warmer than normal temperatures, as you can see here, despite that that negative extending into the south and east of the British Isles here. And the following week it looks as if warmer than normal conditions will continue to drive our weather pattern. As you can see here, high pressure seen by the CFSV2, and this is of course the period 12th through 19th of September. The following week, so this is the 19th through the 26th, you can see here that we've actually got a neutral high field around the UK and Ireland here, high pressure surrounding this, but what that would maybe do is instigate low pressure and possible rainfall as well. So it'd be interesting to see if it shows cooler than normal, and no, it doesn't actually. So it's showing that coverage almost end to end of Europe above normal temperature wise. And again, you have to kind of take that slightly with a pinch of salt when it comes to temperatures here for Europe and for the British Isles. But overall, it is a very hard call, I think, because the Manchurian oscillation has a big impact. The tropics will have a big impact as well. Now, it may not have as much impact if these systems that they do develop, that is, crosses the Atlantic. Do they take a northward turn? If they go straight towards the United States or Mexico, they might have very, very little influence on our weather pattern. But you get some cracks within that mid-Atlantic ridge. You have troughs maybe dropping into the eastern portion of the United States. Then you see these systems develop and make that turn around the western portion of the Atlantic Basin and move and interact with the jet stream over the North Atlantic, and that has significant impacts, both building high pressure as well as deflating high pressure over the UK here. And like I continuously say, we will continue to watch this rather interesting pattern as we go into the autumn season here. But I think September could be a back and forth month. I will hopefully get a forecast released tomorrow, so a September outlook. I don't think I'm going to get much in the way of a chance to talk and look back at the summer. I kind of did that back at the end of July. I kind of recapped on how the summer forecast was going, I kind of scored June and July, and I don't know if I'm going to get a great deal of chance to look at the whole summer overall. It's been a pretty hectic period of time. In the last month and a half, I've actually purchased a house, and I am going along with my fiance to Bali in Indonesia in a couple of days' time. So this is my last night in the truck. I'm sitting at Coney Garth Services just below Scotch Corner this evening. I've got a load to go to Morrison's tomorrow morning, and then I'll be travelling up to back up to base again in Everton. So and then I finish up for 2 weeks. So I'm going to be driving down to London on Wednesday. I will try to get a video done, and then I'll be actually flying all day on Thursday, Gatwick to Dubai, Dubai to Denpasar in Bali. What I'm hoping to do is do some kind of travel diaries, so very short videos, like looking around at what I'm visiting, what I'm seeing, talk to you about that, and show you what I'm getting up to while I'm in Indonesia. I'm a little bit concerned about internet. I don't know what the script is with regards to SIM cards and whatnot. I've been watching quite a lot of videos with regards to how it all works. So I will try my best to keep you up to date as much as I can while I'm away. So that's for a fortnight. So the videos are going to become a little bit sporadic, a little bit hit and miss. May go through a couple of days without anything, but that's just to give you a rough idea as to what's going on at the moment. Busy times, but exciting times, good times, and I shall round up for now. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Monday. Yeah, Monday, and I'll be back hopefully again with more tomorrow. Bye for now.